All right, even though Roger's not here, we're gonna make sure we start on time. Look at that, got 10 seconds. All right, gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. on the dot for the Pool and Recreation Center Committee for March 22nd, 2023. Everybody's having a fantastic evening so far. All right, roll call. Matt Sam.
Present.
Chris Evans.
Here.
3 off. Sean Miller. Sean's sick, but he has had a lot of input, so we'll talk about that later. Dr. Gibson. Danny Park. Roger Stewart. Andy Kwan.
Here.
Tina Payne.
Here.
Janet O'Donnell. She was sick as well, so let me know that. Blake.
Here.
Neil. Here. I'm here, Brent. Mike McCormick.
Here.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roger Spirit is here.
Yes, Roger is here watching. So, hello, Roger. Moving right along to, sorry, let me get this up. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Do you have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Stam, seconded by Evans to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving right along to new business. Item number 5A, SJCF updates. They'll be going over selecting the final design drawings with you all for the new building and Lions Park project updates. Kind of tag teaming both A and B, of course, with McCown Gordon updates. So do you want to drive or you want me to?
Go ahead.
All right, that's dangerous. Here we go. Gary, good evening.
The last couple slides there.
Oh, yeah.
Since our last issued the DD set of drawings, we've had lots of conversations and meetings with McCown Gordon. They've priced it based on kind of a snapshot in time, and we reviewed that last time we met. And I can go over those drawings if you want me to. They are in this set here. That's the southern portion of the building. We did split it into 2 pieces just to fit on the pages better, on the bid documents better. I think you've all seen this many times. Fitness area, admin area, child center area, lane track going around, fitness area in the middle. I've had conversations with Blake and his crew about what type of equipment would go in there. This is not that. We have had some meetings about, what types of equipment, where they should be located, and we'll be issuing that later on. But this is kind of like I say, the snapshot in time of that McCown Gordon then took it to pricing on. So we've done more than this. We've moved forward on designing, of course, that never stops. So, but this is coming. The next slide is the northern section of that. Has the locker rooms, the family locker room, the pool, the gym, the studio, and then the building off to the north there is the pool equipment room. Questions on the plan? I think I will turn it over to McCown Gordon for their input on pricing.
Thanks, Gary, for the quick update on design. Got a couple of things that I'd like to, Jake and I are going to go over with you guys on this design development set. So As you kind of see, we've got this broken out into 5 sections. So we have the estimate there, what's included, what's not, some clarifications. There's a breakdown on that estimate. You can see where costs are driving. We have a fairly extensive list of costs. And I want to stress that those are not just cuts from the project. My team's looked at, Jake and I have looked at, or feedback from trade partners that said, hey, have you considered maybe this option instead? It might be a product, something that back to the end user. So there's some ads there, some additional. Of course, in the fact that this isn't our money, this is your money, you guys do with it what you want to do. But just want to give you some of those options. And we've attached a project schedule, and then Jake's attached his 40 take. Just a couple of highlights. We did go to the market and get budgets on this. So we've got unit pricing on asphalt. Got actual budgets from trade partners, from earthwork, from a pool contractor, a furnish and erect number for the pre-engineered, mechanical and electrical, plumbing, drywall, all the different floorings, the gym equipment, the lockers. So I feel like this is a pretty comprehensive budget that that'll be included in that 16 division breakout. One other thing that I do want to get project schedule. There are some very important dates that we currently have. Package like we talked about. For earlier for a furnish and erect number for the building structure, and during the switch year, that's about a yearly time. Those are 2 very critical items. Or go bid them out so we can then procure. Process is detailed out inside that schedule that's attached. Some of the different things that we're going to go over. That estimate narrative and summary we can go into as much or as little. Got some stuff that you guys might find important, so they'll get into this.
So starting with the estimate narrative here, our initial construction cost is currently $717,360. To highlight that this is not a guaranteed maximum price. To have this. Other than the clarifications, I'm not going to go through all of this. Allowances, as you can see there, are all included in that. Site improvements, I didn't want to fight as far as are including 5. Jumping down the building structure, did want to highlight, so we are budgeting for a pre-engineered. That includes 3-inch wall panels, so those are metal. Now we want to highlight the hardened structure at the end length locker room. Have a 6-inch cast or 6-inch slab above there. That'll be that space. Another item I didn't want to highlight is the building envelope. Remove a couple section of glass on that south elevation. Have next bracing. It is a lot more cost effective to build. Jumping down the list, maybe not have a backup generator included, but provisions will be made. Other things on some of the interior. That residence flooring, oxygen coating, the locker rooms. Pricing, well, my price includes rubber flooring and the weights area, carpet tile and the, a couple things on general items I want to highlight. The car carrying at 2%. Perhaps we have for now until we receive. Really, when we get those documents bid out, that design contingency will be zeroed out. And then lastly, on the exclusions, we want to highlight probably the cost option matter. So Scott mentioned earlier, this is our 16 vision break. I had a few in this. So 13 EMD, that's the that whole and then you can see 16 these are the electric systems. Those costs alone. Like those, below electrical, sub-default, liability, and builder's risk, all, if I move on, is there any question?
What's 13A?
That's the pre-engineered.
Okay.
Building structure, that's your
Sorry,
structure.
what I'm thinking.
I have a question on the parking lot paving. Is that a little overkill on a parking lot? I mean, we do streets in Derby where I work and we do 5-inch pavement on 6-inch geogrid with rock. Does it need 9 inches of rock?
That, we'll get more information once. Some days, but
Do you want to go into the general, what's the general conditions?
So, general conditions are, let's cost per on the job. I know that's a lot of information to chew through all at once. Did anybody have any questions on the narrative, on any explanation?
On the general items, exclusions, it's got Lions Park splash pad. I thought we were going to bid that with this building.
we are,
Okay, but it's included in that $17 million price that's in there? Oh, it's not?
the cost for that would be approximately 600.
Yep. Keep this train moving. And if you can make sure to put that mic a little closer. We're hearing about 30% of what you got to say. So we want to hear everything you have to say.
So as Scott talked about before, we put together options. So the first four alternates up there, the first one is the ability to remove that size of the need up there. Next two, alternate 2 and 3 options came from our supplier. Additional clear coat. This is, but it'll provide another. And the third option there, this is just another option for roof panels. This is another option from wall panels. Panel, and then it's got, as you can see, that's a pretty sizable.
I'd like to understand why we are removing the gymnasium from scope of work or put that down for deduction.
Budget consideration.
Okay.
What was our original budget for this?
Which year, Mr. Quant?
At the very beginning, I mean, what was our target at the beginning of all this?
10.5 million all in, overall. Of course, those were with, that's really loud. See, Roger, I turned it too loud for you now. That was originally with, the location, in a different spot and really looking at, in 2020, prices were completely different than they are today. There's been, tremendous amount of inflation on a lot of these items. And also too, the overall size of the building is I believe, larger as well than what the original was. I'm not sure when we got the sales tax out, I'm not sure how close those actual square footage estimates were to reality, of what we were maybe sold. So I think that's some consideration as well. But I do want to make sure that everyone's aware, the sales tax revenue is generating, substantially more. That's why we provide updates. All those are on the agenda site online right now. You can go look at what the running total is. And so, the dollar amount for the overall project did increase on what we can spend. And so the overall budget increased as well. What's within the district boundaries for that 2 mil increase has also generated substantially more than originally projected as well. So we have a larger budget to give the public more of what they wanted in all of the surveys that we did receive.
The PMB and the mechanical electrical, you said it was like 52% of the budget. Is that just a pretty well norm? Or is it really high for a reason that is the case? Is it because of the post 2020 numbers or what? Or is this just common?
No, I just kind of want to highlight.
On other buildings that you built, is that a common theme that usually is about 50% of your budget is for those three items?
Yeah, you're systems.
The school's pool, is that what you said? Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead, sorry. Please continue.
So the alternates, like, as their ski does, like to keep this pool. 9 or 10 different alternates. For draw, trying to limit those to things. Trying to bid out one mechanical system. Our requirements and rough holes for your. We try and limit alternates to things that are cut and get a lot better pricing from your trade. Was clean. On the side items, I know.
Item number 1, this looks at that. Cost effective, as you can see. Item 2 and 3. Those would be good options if we anticipate bus traffic. Last 2. So I know there was discussions about making of stormwater runoff. Right now, I'm kind of assuming that needs. Last one on the list, this is for a medium.
I would like to add that a geotech has been hired and they should be out there, I believe, next week, start punching some holes in the ground. So we should see that report back probably 2-3 weeks after that. So that'll help answer some of the questions, especially on the pond liner. If native soils are okay, we can use those, but and also the sub base under the asphalt, that'll determine that too as well.
Let's see if you guys might jump back on alternate 3 and talk a little bit about that one, just to kind of clarify with the group. So I know that was, even we had a few questions about that.
So base bid, the standing seam panels. So this option, sandwich panel, similar to the wall panel. Locking system.
So, for everybody who doesn't live in construction all day long, the standing seam roof, up the edge of it, it's Simple Saver insulation is higher framing structure, your secondary frame. Build up with insulations. Bottom of it, white or all black. That's kind of what that Simple Saver, that's what we have priced currently. The alternate number 3 is like Jake said. A panel, it'll look just. Hard foam insulation. Outside. And you look up. Well, that's fine. Some people that's. And it's not our decision to make on that. With that 4-inch, I think you'd be at. Relatively, should be pretty. Labor intensive process. Great product, both of them are great products, but just one. I don't know if that was too much detail or not enough, or if you guys.
So the R value with it versus without it was 30.
Relatively the same. That's
Okay.
Probably going to be just
Okay.
less.
I guess the thought that comes to my mind is, and I don't know if we can answer this question tonight, but is installing, something like this, having those little bit higher R values. I mean, do you save a fair amount in your HVAC through this? I mean, are you going to, I don't know, you're going to offset $500,000, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm saying your base bid would have a higher R value.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So base bid's going to have more than what they're.
Oh.
This is for a 4-inch panel.
Okay,
You can
okay.
get those up to 6 inches, thick. But most people.
I'm with you.
don't do that much decisions.
Really just the appearance is what you're talking about is the really the difference.
Right. From an end user standpoint.
What's the majority like of the Ys? Oh, sorry. What's like the majority of the Ys and those things are?
I
Or
think a lot of those have like conventions.
Thank you. Yeah.
The next one is Jake is going to go over deals specific. And it's what will this look like when you walk up to it, when you see it from a different elevation. And all of these were made. These are just suggestions. Again, you look at what y'all want.
Todd, before we jump onto that,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted me to just show this.
Oh, yeah, that helps. Yep. Okay, I forgot I sent that to you. So
Because I didn't understand it. Sorry. I
Yeah.
was like, trying to.
The first one there is a traditional pre-engineered metal building. You roll out a 6-foot wide band of insulation. Tiny framing members, those are called purlins. You roll it out over the top. You- down to the next one, and that's that has the black fiber. A nice smooth appearance. Bless you. And it looks a lot cleaner. Cavity filled up with insulation, and then another little bit. And then was
Yeah, looked like it.
but that one has liner panels on the walls and liner panels on the sides. It looks really similar. Couple of different options of what things. Public is going into use. Think of that. Second one with.
And that's what's in the base bid.
Is that what's at Hartman? Or did they just paint that black? I know that's a weird question you probably can't answer, but
With the sound and everything, man, it sounds like it's just painted, but.
I haven't looked close enough.
So this would be in the pool, is that right?
This would be
Everywhere?
in
So-
the pool. I misspoke earlier. Currently have priced is that entire system everywhere. We would put an additional, just a single phase liner.
That's why I was asking, because I was thinking fabric and wet don't always go together,
Well,
and I
the
understand what you're
fabric is
saying,
It's
but,
a plastic
Yeah.
fabric.
but is it ever subject to staining or anything, any discoloration or anything like that? Okay.
Good question.
It's just plastic.
So do we need that as an alternate if this committee says that the third is a cosmetic and you were talking about keeping the alternates to a limited number? Do you feel like we need it?
If you guys, right here, if you guys make decisions on incorporate it into the bid documents, or we get rid of it. You're looking at this and saying, I'm not.
My other question is on removal of the gymnasium, does that change the overall footprint of the building? So you wouldn't go ahead and build the building where the gymnasium would be, you would actually shorten the building where the gymnasium would have been? Okay.
That back pool wall would just become an extra.
And then could that be added on later?
Yes, it would be built for expansion.
And then the savings for that, does that also accommodate all of the heating and air and mechanical that would have fed into that area as well?
It does, that has its own independent. That's why it was a nice clean one. Already kind of its own building, but attached, so it was.
I think we'd be crucified if we cut the gym out of it.
What was that?
I think we'd be crucified if we took the gym
Oh,
out.
yeah, I
I mean, that's just like taking the pool out of it. I mean, they're both
Yeah.
something people want.
Yeah,
So I think just add the
100%.
gym in. I mean, that's a,
But I do want to make sure, I mean, remember, I mean, to remind everyone, I mean, we're really doing two buildings in one project with really the budget that we had originally of one, not both. If that makes any sense. And so really, you know, with the size of budget, everything, you know, you really focus on either the natatorium or the fitness area and gym. You wouldn't do both projects. So, I mean, that's why we're kind of trying to juggle really two projects at the same time and still keeping it cost effective. So everybody's aware of that.
This would be added on, would there be a timetable that we can tell them?
It's all dependent upon the sales tax.
You mentioned earlier about the district. Is the sales tax also being generated by businesses within the entire district?
No, local option sales tax is only within the city boundaries of Valley Center. So in the state of Kansas, you can't leverage sales tax outside of your corporate limits. So schools cannot levy sales tax. Definitely looked into that.
I bet you did. So, and then the sales tax, does it have a expiration, a timeline on it?
15 years from the date of,
Years.
yes.
Okay.
And so by the time that so by the time we actually get all this finalized, we'll float a temp note. We'll actually lock in a 10-year bond versus the 15 because 5 years would probably have lapsed since this has gone into effect.
That was my next question. Thank you.
Which the rates right now are running about 2.625%.
Is that raised a little bit?
It has fluctuated. In my career, I remember when those even 10, 15, 20 years, they were much higher, significantly higher. I was pleased when we could refinance for 6% for 20 years. So
Because if we're looking at a year and a half or 2 years out,
could be one or the other.
okay. And we have to raise 2 million.
Or more. Blake, do you have something? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, do we decide probably on alternate 3? That's something as a committee we don't want to put on there, or
X it off if you want. It's your decision. Put you on the spot. What you want? What's your flavor? Blake, this is your building.
No, I like the way the black ceiling looked. I think it looked clean, and if we're really coming down to numbers, I think saving 500,000 on something that I think looks good on the base bid. So that's my thoughts on it.
How much was the difference between the one with that was the white ceiling versus the black ceiling?
So we actually got kind of a hybrid system plan. Within that 17. That right there that you're seeing, the black liner. Kind of makes the sandwich. But you don't, that's just in the pool. Yeah, just in the pool.
So is the 500,000, the difference between what's in the budget for item B there? Is that the difference? Is that the upgrade price or is that the total
We have that
price?
in the budget. We have
Right.
black ceiling.
But I'm talking about the my glasses, on
Yes, that is
515,000.
added to the project.
So that would be from the baseline of what that's,
17.
so then it would be plus 515,000 for what you see there.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and that's the way this option sheet is, it's whatever our base price is, that's it. That's.
I agree with Blake. It's a clean look and it's an easy way to save $500,000. So,
Strike that one from the.
That would be an add-on.
Yeah. You're not really saving it.
No, but you're not
requesting.
you're not
people to
adding it
put
on.
Prices on.
Right.
Correct.
I just don't think that's something we need to spend.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Add that
Yes.
extra.
Rather than spend the extra to do
Yeah,
that.
rather than spending that, that in that type of a system that reduces the R value, why not then look to see what that bid alternate comes in at the add-on for the splash pad at the pool in Lions Park? And if you're close to the same for, ceiling versus the splash pad, which one are you going to decide?
Yeah.
Okay, all day splash pad. I think we can all say that.
Yeah.
So it's not worth though having the contractor spend time on putting those numbers together if we're not even going to consider it. And so that's what we're kind of doing as we go through this is kind of our punches of saying, okay, if it's an ad, then we might consider it. So have the contractor bid it. Not saying we have to do it, but let's have the contractor look at it. And then the deduct would be actually deducting from your base bid with going with, that T versus the roundabout for 8,000, which I would go with the roundabout for $8,758. all day, all day.
I just, I.
So that's kind of what we're doing here tonight. Sorry. Hopefully I probably didn't explain that to everybody. So that's when you see the deduct and the adds in this section. And so if we don't even want to look at that number on Alt 3, then just take it off. There you go. Done. SJCF agrees. Yep. Looks good. All right.
So Dick's gonna start in on some with the building shell.
Yes, I will. And you start talking.
The first shell option here, so this is looking at the west elevation and the net. Option would essentially remove triangular piece if we sections of wall and then building. Stays there. Second row of glazing, you would still have cowl wall there. Still have cowl wall at the second level, and then you would have storefront.
So this would be glass on the main.
Correct.
And then that
Glass,
other-
wall, and then that triangle piece would be
But we'll keep the angle.
option, square.
So there would still be 2 levels of glass or just one?
Two. You'd have
Okay.
storefront
And the
wall.
third one would be, and then,
It's quantified by square footage there, and that cow wall was running about $90 a foot. So if you change, went from flat to maybe drop the tails down, kept the peak. $750 square feet for 50 grand. Great light there, great windows. It seemed like that was maybe something that could be considered.
so once again, it's in the bid. If we decided to go to it, we'd save 49,000.
Yep. See, I told you this meeting was going to be fun.
I think that, no, but I think that's a really nice look and it's different and it's unique and it goes with your framework and it's, to me, I think it makes it,
I think it
Pop.
goes with the top, yeah.
yeah.
There's another option. It's on the very.
Gary's over there going, his head's shaking. So he's like a bobblehead. I love it.
Shell number 5. We have not ran all the numbers on this, but it's adding a little bit more geometry to the building. But it would take that canopy and lower it down. We aren't sure how much, but lower it down a little bit, maybe 8 feet. Section. Lower front canopy, the west elevation. Because right now, the thoughts behind it being a cost reduction is one that would come down a little bit lower. Glass would drop down with that, which would argue. But you've got less structure there, you have less of the moment arm on that end. It might just be a little bit more architecturally pleasing. I'll defer to Gary on that. He's it may be an option that also give you a great spot to put back door. So just trying to look at it again from an owner end user standpoint. I don't know if I explained.
Could we get pictures?
What's that?
Could we get pictures of what it could look like or would look like? And I'm a picture guy, but
Almost be like a double peak situation,
yeah, yeah.
in other words, right? Is that how
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
understanding it?
You-
Okay.
Right now, you've got the peak up here and that all the way back. And then, let's say it drop down here, you have
Mm-hmm.
your canopy right here, and this will go up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But then you'd also lose some of the aesthetics of the big open look with the glass because that's going to be dropped down.
right, you would potentially lose some of that.
Yeah, because you'd shrink all that down.
And this is why we're having this, so we can have these kind of dialogues and discussions and get feedback. Right direction, or we need back into the right.
It's just from my perspective, from a financial perspective, unless we're looking at something that's like a $5 million deduction, that, you know, it's hard for me to prioritize a $50,000 deduction if we're already at 17 mil. You know, and so to me, I would look at those deductions more so as if they're over a certain price point. So if they're over 250,000, then that grabs my eye. But from a financial perspective, if we're bringing in sales tax at $70,000 or $80,000 a month, the 50,000 you get from that, you know, it may not make that much difference. So that's why I don't get real engaged with this, because it's just not a huge difference on a big package budget. So the other stuff I just defer. But I also am kind of a linear thinker. So are we going through these item by item? Do you want us to make decisions on this, or are we just going through the whole thing and then going back? What's the?
Any decisions the group wants to make tonight would be great.
Okay.
But alternate number 3, that was perfect.
Yeah.
What everybody has to look at. We'll include that as part of the.
Because we do have to start kind of moving along to get this building, you know, so we can actually get some shovels in the ground. So I mean, you know, the more that we delay these types of decisions, that's why, you know, we did send this out, you know, ahead of time, this packet this time more than we probably have in the past.
We eliminate the option of taking out the roundabout. Did we decide on that? Taking out the circular drive?
Yeah, from the deduction.
Not
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Linear thinker, sorry.
I like what you said too about your 14, 15,000, 40, 30,000. It's not, I know it can all add up.
They all add up.
But I know they do, but when you
And on this one, so I know at one point we had talked about, I don't know if we talked about it as a committee, but so are these pillars, are they squaring up or are they going to stay this way? Because,
They'll be square. We're
So-
making those square columns so it'll look less like.
and so, you know, that's a big difference in my opinion, when you're looking at the aesthetic of this front. If you're looking at a square pillar versus the
Column.
taper, you know, the airport hangar, you know, it's different, right? And so then it's hard to kind of envision what you're asking for in this last of having a multi-tiered approach, because I mean, you know, you're seeing a tapered,
I'm seeing
panel
this
there,
is
so.
what I'm seeing.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
and so with that squared column, it's going to look different. Sorry, I want to make sure. I don't know if we ever really brought that up or talked about that.
I
So
didn't know they were square columns.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is one that we were kicking around as a way to hadn't fully vetted it out, this way we don't have the prices.
if it's sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you've done a tremendous
Yeah,
amount
yeah,
of
yeah,
work.
certainly.
And when I make comments like that, I don't mean to discount the amount of work that you have done at all. I just was saying, if I don't get jazzed, that's why, because it's like, you know, I mean, it's a big price tag. But thank you so much, and I'm very impressed by the amount of work.
I don't know if I heard it, Todd, but did you guys give a rough estimate of what that would bring down if you did lower the peak and you did bring some of the?
So if you do that, then shell one will be accepted just So you have that immediately.
Okay.
And then, work maintenance maybe in the $5,000 to $10,000 range because of the tonnage of steel goes
Mhm.
down. But it's closer to the ground. Your net, you're probably in the 60,000. 60,000 is the number.
I just said I wouldn't get jazzed, but if somebody else does, I think that's great.
I mean, and
I get
at that
jazzed
point,
over 8.
It's a matter of seeing it.
But then again, if you do that, you got to create some really cool popping signage on the front of it.
Right. I
So now you
mean,
can spend that additionally.
right. Would it be worth, right.
Yeah.
And would it be worth looking at to the committee, to see something like that rendered real loosely? I mean, I don't know.
The square columns, please.
I was like the front of that. I thought it looked really good, very
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought.
different.
The
Yeah.
front looks good. I mean, if it's going to change the initial look at it, and it's going to look kind of enclosed or darker underneath that area, I don't know. I think it'd be good to see it. Like,
Mhm.
go on.
Right. I think it'd be cool to look at both ways because I like this look the way it is. a
I do
lot.
too.
So, but I also catch the vision of having something across the lowered peak in the front
You
too.
have to do this, you can slope it
Right.
this way, you can slope it to the front, you can keep it
Right.
offset. I mean, there's a lot.
I think it draws you in.
Or do you guys like the taper columns? Or should we not square them off and see what that looks like?
I
Or,
like this. square.
I
or are you
assume-
talking more about?
I assumed they were. Like I said, I looked at it like you did. I was like, I assumed they were tapered.
I thought this is what we're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea that they weren't tapered.
A little bit.
They're
So,
tapered
I mean,
here.
We can have them tapered, it's whatever you want, I just. That historically, people don't like to look at tapered columns. They want to see that nice.
That frame in particular could stay, this one that's exterior. Right, so I think part of the move to the squared columns inside was so that when you're walking past them, they're not intruding into your walking space at all. Not coming further out on the inside. So it was just a feel and a way that you're gonna interact with it when you're on the pool deck. Just get those straightened up so that you're walking around situation. Starting to intrude. And outside, you don't have that situation because you have a lot of space, so it's.
Yeah, because it doesn't design to be the most efficient to get. With
Yes.
that ratio on.
Yes.
But
Option shell 2, that wall is precast. Option looks at, so currently the precast comes off that southwest corner. These panels, say about $3,000. That's a camera. Hard to even go by.
What would go there instead?
Chain.
So what I would say, I'm not a particular fan of that one. The signage that we have shown in these renderings when we first did it, I don't think we're as much thinking of the signage on top anymore. We've begun to think of that whole wall as the signage for the building, essentially some kind of large graphic. And with the extra square footage that allows, we have a really fantastic, massive graphic that faces out towards Meridian. Behind this wall, so kind of where that eye is in this picture is where, if you looked at this option, that wall would end, and then you'd have chain link fencing. There's a bunch of mechanical and electrical equipment that sits out in that area, so you have to screen it from the road either way. So the question is, do we do it in an architectural way where we can enhance this graphic and our presentation to Meridian? Or, Again, we deduct this and you have what's likely chain link fence there with some sort of mesh or inserts to screen your transformers and things that are going to be sitting. Reduction in signage potential, in addition to, as well, the other kind of piece I would say is, as a precast wall, it's going to keep the sound behind it. If you go to chain link there, when you walk by, you're going to hear that transformer. A couple different things that's doing.
You're talking about ending it right here. Oh, I'm not sharing it into my, sorry about that. I'm sharing it by myself up here.
Southwest corner of that.
So it would end right here.
Yes,
And then this section here, what you're saying would be removed
and replaced with.
and replaced with the chain link.
That's
Oh, no.
adjacent
Oh,
to
no,
the
no.
sidewalk.
No, I'm definitely not. for
Yeah,
that.
that's a no. You can just Christ side it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What's everybody's opinion? I'm sorry. That was,
I agree.
I was gonna jump on that one for us all. I think that for 30,000, is that what you said?
No, no.
So Brent, just for clarity.
Yep, you're fine.
You have chain link.
Over here.
back-
Yeah, over here.
Right, around the child care area.
Yeah, which I think, that around the childcare area with the, easier to expand that area at some point or, putting those slots, that you can then kind of, keep the, the kids, still hidden, but that front appearance, if you're looking at that building on that front and you're looking at chain link over here. Ooh, lose the little 17 million.
And you said where the I in recreation is about where it would cut off?
Yeah, it's
So
about.
looking at it there, I mean, yeah, you'd
roughly
lose quite a
where-
bit. I like,
For 30,000.
yeah. You have a good opportunity there for a nice,
I think this west facing side that's facing Meridian.
That's the pop.
That needs to be the
That's
top.
that's
Yeah.
what sells this back.
Yep.
And I don't think you want to skimp on that side.
And so this little wing to the east stays in as well. Okay. Yep. Now the parking lot is still here. So, but it's with it being at an angle, I think that really helps still hide it.
But driving by on Meridian as you're pulling in, different aesthetic, again, and all these things change. And again, I appreciate McCowan
Yeah. Absolutely.
looking hard at these things and trying to come up with options. That's why they're involved is to bring up ideas. So
So I think saving, we're putting full walls instead of windows in some of these places, and then still having, then having more ability to put TVs and those things in those areas. There's still going to be plenty of light. I mean, that was a fantastic find, a savings, for you to find. So thank you.
These are down, these next few are very big ticket items, but shelf 3, this is the. This would just remove one section. I think this is likely gonna be where those. Whole deduction there.
Oops. Here, let me pull it up.
Well, I think this section there.
So you'd lose just this entire section of windows
One more.
or over here?
Yeah.
Okay, either way. So, but that same length. Just one bay. Up to you all.
Glass behind.
I kind of like it up there. I think it looks nice. And I mean, we're talking about a building that we want to make sure the aesthetics on it are really nice and different and pop. I think that's something we should keep, especially if it's only going to be
12,000.
12,000.
All I can see is the picture. I mean, it would be nice to see something different, but I like it the way it is.
Yeah, I think we have to also keep in mind as people are getting memberships, what are they gonna think of this place like?
Yeah.
A YMCA. So the cheaper you go down and start putting fencing in places and doing stuff, they're not gonna think of it like that very much as far as having a membership.
Yep.
Want to make it, keep it nice.
Shelf forward, so this is at that west end again. That out, we just have. Liner panel helps protect it.
Don't eliminate it then.
Yeah, that's a big
Don't
deal.
eliminate it.
So the rendering there, how it is on the right, that's how we've got priced is the entire system.
Well, this entire system like
That
this.
entire system, the whole, like Jake said, otherwise.
So you won't have the slots here is what you're saying?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, you know
We
exactly
don't
where I'm
wanna- We
going.
don't want to mess with that.
Uh-huh.
Which I think there still be, I mean, you know, if we do, you know, keep the elevation and the height in here, you know, I don't know if you're gonna lose, you know, much of the sunlight and that stuff with it being tilted the way based upon the
Put a
sun
lot of
study. You should,
skylight in there
lot of
and-
skylight.
And again, keep that roof up at that higher plane, you get a lot of light in underneath there, it'll feel real airy. Even with that infill, which I think
okay. If we could see it, you know, that with the, you know, covered and then with these squared off, just so we can see it that way. And then if we decide not to, I mean, that would be, you know, then it'll be a deduct potential, so. Okay.
Already talked about shelf. Shelf 6, this is more.
Yeah, Brian and I talked a little bit today about the standalone mechanical building. So right now on the north side, portion, search tank, the pool, equipment room, the pumps, all of that stuff is right. I know everybody was really impressed on some different layouts, but Brian had a couple of suggestions. I don't know if you're ready to share.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into clues too much. It was a good option when you actually moving that building and set it further away, because the typicals further away from the building. We are going to the search tank to deal with, in water surge to keep the pool filled. And there were some concerns about where it's going to be built at, if it would undermine the building at all. There's a lot that we do engineering wise to where it's not going to undermine the building if we keep it in that mechanical space. Or we actually create the size of the building, the footprint of the pool, we can put it on the deck area, be like under the deck with the access hatch right there where the surge tank would be, kind of mirrored up right next to that deep end wall. That way we can keep the building kind of right there. I know as an operator, I would want to, go out, walk, 20 feet out to the building to backwash it, in the winter, stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to keep it there central. And I think there's gonna be some savings by pulling the excavation into the side, already digging a big hole for the pool, as opposed to putting another excavation on that exterior building. So it makes sense to bring the surge tank inside. So I think that's probably one that can probably just be left as is for now. It's time. We're gonna fight for every square foot we can get at the moment, but as we get the CDs, if there's an opportunity to bring down a little bit, that's gonna be happy to do that. Search takes more under there, and we're spending space for the filters, the chemical feeds, stuff like that. Does give us some room though to maybe move the chemicals even further away from what we originally had thought, so that is gonna help us out a little bit.
All right, last three here on the options list are computer administrative. So option 1, currently in our price, we have acoustic ceiling panels above the fitness. Option will pull those out, and if you were looking at the Simple Saver roof installation. Drop ceiling is the base price, we took it out.
I'd say, we don't, once again, it's aesthetics and it's not that much, so leave it in. Just, yeah. Acoustic, yeah.
So this is in the. With this option, we would add about.
Nice things about tile, the aesthetics, it looks really, from an operator standpoint, it's epoxy paint, you're gonna have to figure it out, you're gonna have to.
I would say my opinion would just stick with the paint. I don't think it would be that, the tiling gets really dirty and what's the stuff that gets on it? That it's like
Does it attract
the chemical,
mildew?
Lots of things.
Mildew.
yeah, it's,
Lots of things.
I don't think it's worth, I just think it's gonna be a lot of time. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be something we'd keep nice, but it would just be a lot of time to balancing time and cost too. So,
You're talking about just in locker rooms,
yeah.
not like in the hallways or, in the front lobby or in the, so just when you're in the locker rooms.
The restrooms. that are
Why is there that
outside
one,
of
are
the
they?
locker rooms.
Why is it locked?
But not Blake's locker.
Yeah, so those are a little nicer.
Single.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jake? I missed,
So
sorry.
there's 3 little single lockers. I think there's 2 in the
Uh-huh.
fitness one. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's.
That way when Grant's using the facility.
Well, I know when I took my daughter to the Y in Newton, I was thankful that it was, I think it was block in the family area. Cause yeah, it was quite a shower experience.
High views.
So, which was fine. I didn't care. I mean, the rest of the place looks nice. I mean, what do I care about in the locker room? But that's just me as a parent.
I agree.
A lot of us are.
I do have to say, make sure that we have a really good swimsuit dryer. That thing, you put your swimsuit in there, hold that thing, and it dries it quick. Oh,
Good.
that is worth every penny. Sorry. I mean, it was fantastic.
So did I hear from the group to strike INT two?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Down there in the end. Yes. Matt. Yeah.
Last one on the list, this. Dead space around there. Bobby there, and that. That out and go with the.
No, that's right where your public comes in and gets your first look. It's
Well, I
where
look at
they
it,
gather.
I look at it as, is it gonna look like an unfinished look? I don't know what that sealed cement would look like, but I would wonder if they would be unfinished looking, and for, once again, 16 grand, I wanna make sure that we have a good finished product.
What's the option on this with the honeycomb pattern with the little dyed concrete in there instead of the epoxy floor? What's the price difference?
I was even thinking about, when we were talking about it too.
That was Neil's
about-
idea, by the way.
No,
Full
actually out
disclosure.
on the patio area out front.
Oh, I had that too.
Yeah,
Oh, I brought it inside, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
that's okay. We
Yeah.
talked about both.
I think, so I got it. I'll email it to myself and pull it up here. But on what they're doing over at Lions Park Pool, if you do that in that concrete floor and not, and if it's, I mean, I don't know what the cost difference is, and then stain it, it might look really cool.
That's what I was gonna ask about stained concrete.
And it's easier to
What's that
clean for
cost?
I was gonna say,
Blake.
what's like the maintenance on it, though? Do you reseal it and that kind of stuff?
Usually those sealers, it's a sealer densifier, and it's walk on the shiner. Topical, it may look a little initially, but depending on traffic, 3 to 5 years, you have to. That penetrates where it seals it. And it'll look like shiny. Shiny concrete is what. Think of like home Depot. Very light, very light sandy.
I know there's probably not one that's better than the other, but I was thinking like with like when it's raining or it's snowing, what's the slip? 'Cause I know we're gonna have a lot of people coming and going. Is there one that's better for like not being as slippery? Because I know some of those materials.
Kids coming in and out of the pool is what I was thinking exactly, Blake. Yeah.
Honeycomb thing, what you're talking about, they have.
It all means slip
Cruise a lot.
resistance.
Okay.
They have to.
Yeah. Okay.
We were talking.
Sorry.
Is one gonna be less over the other though, Gary? Like the LVT?
LVT's got some pretty good slip resistance.
May have a little advantage.
Yeah, you'll have maintenance with it.
Yeah.
Concrete, you just-
Could be
Well, maintenance
explored.
would be nice.
And it'd probably have to cost a little bit on installation, but that luxury tile could possibly cut into a honeycomb pattern. It could be done like that. Done, I know there would be a little more cost to it though, possibly from.
Here's the test that they're doing out there.
Yeah.
I just think anywhere where your public is coming in and the check-in station and your
Don't
entrance
like
and
it.
I think those places are, you want to make them eye-catching. You
Right.
want to make them
Thank
you.
good.
I was
That's how
just,
this could be an option.
At the golf course.
Some sort of cool pattern or different colors or however you want to set it up.
Go into the patio.
With colored concrete, it can
What's
be.
that?
I was thinking a star pattern would be
Star pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't recognize stars up here.
If you do colored concrete, you have to do all of the same color at the same time with the same finishing it. Conditions, I mean, they're hurdles that go into just the concrete mix. Color into it.
It is. It is. Can you stand on top?
Will always crack.
Standing on
No
top
matter how well
The
it's
top?
done,
and seal it.
will eventually have crack.
True.
Even, I mean, the best floor laid by the best guy on the best day, at some point, your sealed concrete floor is gonna have crack through it. And got great interiors people that can.
At least in the entry and lobby way, then when you go, around the track, then just plank it and, or whatever.
So if you look on the supporting takeoff page, this area B floor finishes, so that's kind of the area that Jake's been talking about. That's maybe like the third page. Yeah, right there. So that area in the light green, so when he's talking about the little areas around the track, that's matching. So what do you have in those green areas? That seem to fit LD?
Sounds good.
Lifespan of that tile? The lifespan of, would you say LVT? Is that your?
Commercial's really good.
Unlike a VCT, it doesn't. Maintain, which is.
Like a little Swiffer wet mop is what you clean it with,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Does not require the stripping and waxing every year.
pretty
Very
forgiving.
intensive. And yeah, would require you to shut off areas of the record.
It's also quieter and a little bit softer.
And it looks much nicer.
It looks good. We're put Swiffers socks on everybody's feet when they walk in, and then they can just see cleaning while they.
Station, put your feet in.
Hey, Brent, while you're on this page, that is not,
Go down.
Thank you.
that is not a wood floor. Vinyl.
Is that the one with all lines on it that made me dizzy?
That's what we have in the rec. This is this tech, sports tech. In the Bay Area, that's what we have.
That's going to be in here, but not with all lines on it. I mean, if you put all these lines that you have on here on that.
Oh, I thought you meant the.
Yeah, no, the
Oh.
product is great. No, I like the quality, but I was kind of sensory overload when I saw all the lines. Is that a problem?
So we'll have to coordinate with Blake and his team in order to figure out what markings you want most prominent on the floor, and then kind of work backwards from there. For our graphics here, we wanted to make sure that we showed all the different things that you could do in there, make sure that we showed,
Yep.
Pickleball courts on top of basketball courts, on top of, the cross courts, on the court, volleyball courts, those kind of things. We want to make sure it was all graphically shown here to make it clear to the public that all of those uses could be in there. But we can dial back some of the striping for functions that may not be going on every day.
Yeah.
Your main basketball
No.
court is probably your most prominent markings, and then we kind of work from there to decide how prominent we want different aspects. Whether they're bright colors, like high contrast, low contrast,
Okay.
and work from there to come up with something that is still functional for all the different functions, but aesthetically isn't confusing or overwhelming, and basketball players aren't thinking that they have to play inside of the pickleball court.
So I was gonna say, you got the big basketball court, the three smaller basketball court lines, and then the three pickleballs or two?
Shown here,
Three of
yeah.
those.
And one volleyball.
And volleyball. That's, again, coordination work that we'll continue to do, much like the equipment coordination meeting that we had with our electrical engineer and Blake and his buyer for some mechanical or for the record equipment. We'll have to have a sit down and really understand how we want those things to look and work.
Okay.
Clear.
For instance, maybe the two cross basketball courts just has a little tick mark at the free throw line. Have the whole arc, you don't have everything on.
We don't want that, Brent. That's what we're
Okay.
trying to
Yeah.
avoid.
No, I Googled it because I was like, well, I want to see it. And I was like, woo.
No, I'm actually, yeah.
Let's just go with all fluorescent colors.
Even for me, I was like, that's a little much. And I was like,
Abstract
I wouldn't even know which one to go on.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So we can,
see, you shouldn't Google.
I want to know what the dotted line is that's going out there. What in the heck is that?
It's the NBA line.
That's the 3-point line.
That's 3-point line. Which
yeah,
bat?
what you're seeing in red is a cross court across the main
Yep.
court there. So that's, again, we want to avoid that. That's not what we want.
Sorry. Neil and I went down our
Blake wants, I
trail.
don't
Yeah.
think that's what we want, so we make it clear.
There we go.
Sorry.
Find a happy meeting.
Yeah.
That stuff is really nice.
Was that good direction?
If y'all haven't seen
Is
it,
it enough?
it's
Enough
over the
direction?
wreck. I mean, it's, if y'all haven't
So
seen it.
I'll default
going
to Gary on that question, Brent, but as far as direction, I'm pretty pleased with the answers provided tonight. This is feedback from us.
The one thing we didn't really say that, but about the Lions Park, that was really kind of, are we wanting to add that in or think about it, or the splash pad?
Well, I think we have it
It's in
priced.
there,
I think it's in as a bid
it's-
alternate.
Okay.
I think we 100% want that price. I mean, even from when we were going to put it in with that pool project, so the estimate they give us now
Mhm.
was 250,000 less, or 300,000 less than if we would have bid it with that project.
Okay.
It already has come down 300,000.
All
So, I mean, if we bid it and it is around that 475 or 5, then we might say, hey, you know, we're going to find it somewhere, or we're going to pull it from some other source
Okay.
to get that done, in my opinion, because of taking that kiddie pool out and the response. I mean, just, we need to put something over there. So, or we just say, you know what, maybe we wait till towards the end of this project, we see where all the budget is at the end of the day, and then we might be able to scrape, you know, a couple 100,000 to then say, hey, we can afford this now. Can we, you know, go ahead and execute this agreement, and would you hold your price? So, you know, there's a couple different options we can go with on that. I did want, oh, go ahead.
What I was gonna say to that is figuring on running that concurrently, so
Oh, okay.
it'll be a little bit more, because it is two separate. It's,
Okay, sorry, I misspoke on that.
you know, you're a different supervisor on the site.
One on the side options, is there any of those? that- Which one? 7-inch asphalt paving at entry lanes, the concrete pavement.
Yeah, I think the 7-inch asphalt is a need. I mean, we're gonna have more bus traffic, aren't we?
Are we-
Schools gonna be used for high school events, I mean, that just.
Are we waiting for Geotech to come back?
Yeah, I thought we were waiting for Geotech to see what we got to work with.
To give us a little bit more direction.
No, that's more for the pond, but, well, I don't, on the asphalt, we're taking the tee off, but, boy. Yeah, it kind of depends upon what base you put on it, doesn't it, Matt? Kind of depends upon what base we put under it and what we put on top.
Well, if you do the rock and geo grid, like it's under streets, I still think 5-inch would be contemplated, because we got buses and stuff on residential streets. Asphalt's good. Now, if you do a roundabout, you got the turning movement where asphalt's gonna move. I would do concrete there, but everything else I'd just do standard, but
Are we connected to the middle school parking lot or not?
Yes.
Because I would think like on high school or high bus events, you would probably use that and just for space better anyway. So you may, on school events where you, or you know, your meets and stuff, you may enter there and come in that way instead of,
Well, yeah, because eventually, I mean,
Yeah.
if we close
right,
left turns out of that
Right,
parking lot
right,
on Meridian,
right.
then we're gonna force them to go to the roundabout.
Yep.
And that's kind of why we are building this the way we are, with it being, you know, directly across from Southwind.
Yep.
And so it's either, you know, you do it now, or you do it in a couple of years for
Later.
more money.
Yep.
So. Right?
Yep.
So, all right, yeah, keep those two in there as alternates. And honestly, the price that we've been seeing for our projects for asphalt to concrete, it's so close. We're going concrete. I mean, if you're within $100,000 or $150,000 only from asphalt to concrete, we'll go concrete all day. I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
actually like seeing concrete parking lots, because
Yeah.
traffic keeps the asphalt together. And if it's, don't have a lot of traffic on it, the asphalt kind of starts to deteriorate.
Any other questions on cost options? We'll be scheduled, so we highlighted a couple of items here. Some important dates that we as a group are looking to hit. So I believe we are getting
Sorry, wrong button.
this Friday, right, we're getting the 50% CDs, which will be made out green package and the electrical switch gear. So I've highlighted those items, the releasing the switch fire and the PEMBs. Just anticipating, we can go back through all the logic there, but anticipating going out, competitively bidding them, we work with installers, furnish installers. Local to the Wichita area switchgear supply. And we can get them ourselves. So, do it, I think the turnout items, but process from that. Contract in place, there's not. Range for you. Project. Be the value project. Anticipating that. Documents. Electrical gear. Parts and or the. So we are tracking those in a 52-week lead from the date of. Adding in the bidding, the subcontract process, the shop. We're seeing this on project now. This is ourselves to the current economy. But didn't know if anybody had any questions on the schedule. Probably about a 300. Tried to collapse it down to the important stuff. Ask any questions.
One thing I was gonna ask is, do you anticipate any type of delays or concerns
Just the ones that we know about, and that's.
getting those parts in?
Switchgear, yeah. So, and it's not the actual box, it's the breaker box that are boxes in about 30 weeks. But we can't turn power on to. And we won't turn those. Also, try that equipment twice, so. It's try to anticipate everything.
You're not seeing any movement on that out date, because you had mentioned that before, that you were at a 52-week on that, but you're not seeing any movement on that, any shrinking? And then I think you had mentioned at one point there was something like if you upgraded it, there was sort of like a, I don't know, a Disney Fast Pass or something to be able to get it faster. What's the price difference on that?
There's a company in Kansas City. For $240,000 amp switchgear. significant upcharge, but transcendental blows in it, right?
But not worth putting on the alternate because it's not something we want, so it's not worth putting on that list.
And we're already planning for it here. The generators are like another reason why these.
Do you think we would ever need one though?
If we have Evergy, 100%.
So Brian, can you maybe
I'll stand by that.
benefits of the generator would be facility?
Sure, I mean, if you have that option, the benefits are you can keep your filters running, keep your, the pool circulating. You're not gonna have to play catch up at some point when the filters, kick back on. You're not gonna have to rebalance your pool systems. So I mean, there is a benefit. From a health standpoint, you lost power, the pool's gonna be okay for a small, a window of time, but it's gonna degrade quickly as time goes. So have that option to add it later, great. Have to have it, unless you have everything.
Now we'll plumb everything in for it. I mean, we'll order it. Those are items that you don't have to have right away that we can budget for between the multiple budgets that are going to go into this facility, and also too you can always see about temporary ones that are on trailers and seeing what you can key items you have to operate. It wouldn't run the whole facility by any means, but I mean you can always try to run a generator over there and turn on key equipment, vital equipment.
So the part of that is you need to wire it properly, you need to run the conduit properly, you need to have your power and fry the line and just trying to restore power. So by doing that stuff now, cost or no cost is going to be transferred. If you do that while you're building it, it's, you go back and try and rectify. Intent is to design it like it's gonna get it,
Yep.
just not.
You'd be surprised at how recent we've actually added generators to our lift stations for sewer. So that has to tell you.
So that's really all that I have on schedule. We touched a little bit on Jake's supporting takeoff, but it's included in there. It's just something Jake provides to kind of show you what he was thinking, his approach, and let you know what our take was on this. Any questions for us? I feel like we're letting this off.
It's a tremendous amount of work. I'm gonna say thank you very much. That's a lot of nickels and dimes. Dude, don't come and look at my family budget because you would, you would whittle it down. I'm very impressed. And so, but it's a tremendous amount of work. So thank you.
Did you want to provide a quick update on Lions Park? Sorry, hate to keep people.
Yep, you're good. right on me, so I'll wing it here. So Lions Park, I think everybody's probably driven by. If you haven't, you should. Got the gate structures, the foundation structure is up. Fabric will be installed here. Waiting until the end. Done all the repairs to the pool with. Talked about that today. Do like an optics budget that I gave you.
Okay.
And we'll keep track of the time. Change order item for the additional. DocuSign for me and. As well as the change order for all and all of that. Asphalt, because that one. That will be an increase. Contract value, the one.
Doubled up.
We're doubled up on
Thought so.
scope, we're providing credit back. Those painters gonna do the base coat on the building, and our painter. So,
Brickmob's giving us a pacing deal.
and it- we'll credit all of that back into the owner.
Well, I'm sure it's already spent.
Years to
You want to run over the, because I don't know if I've showed this to everybody yet.
So on that, on the asphalt parking lot and site improvements, so basically we'd be going in, widen that lane curve on the west side and there, so it'll be a also be doing ADA compliant sidewalks. And a mill and overlay on the parking lot itself. Not shown on this page. Sidewalk entrance on the west. Yards off page, there'll be another.
Okay, because we currently do not have a sidewalk that actually connects the
Yeah, we do
pool,
not.
No.
which is fascinating. And so this will be, this will run along the west side of the trees that are right along that west curb line. So those trees will stay. And then we'll add the sidewalk there. This is the reason why this whole project right here with the parking lot, we didn't want to take it out of the sales tax. And so this is why, the council did elect to go a little less with the mill and overlays in the roadways and focus on the parking lot and doing these improvements since this has been an existing, heavily utilized public parking lot for 50 years. So the council did elect to go and use street money, streets department money in here instead of sales tax.
And that's wider too, the exit
Yes.
widened it.
Yep. It can fit my Expedition this time.
Going from the parking lot to.
Pickleball. Mhm.
And,
Pickleball.
and Brent, you guys went ahead and took care of that, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Or you're in the process?
Do we? Yep. Blake says yes.
So you got.
I don't even know where we're at.
All black vinyl fence.
It's gonna look really good. When this is all said and done, and people are gonna say, okay, you guys did a good job over here with this, it's a small 900,000 budget. I'm telling you, because the guttering, you saved money there. Sorry.
Overall, we, that's our 28-day cure. All were all $7 million. Micah did, I don't know if he finished, but he was. Should look pretty sharp. Not over here too late, Mike. Thanks, keep looking ahead. But like I said, we're very, very pleased with the progress, we're pleased with the.
The city staff are taking on the tasks of kind of the lower hanging fruit that can make a huge impact. So thank Neil and the Parks and Public Buildings Department. They're adding new partitions in the bathroom, in the men's and women's, adding new toilets, new lighting. They cleaned the slides, been sprayed. They rented a lift and been or power washing. Yep.
Yep.
It looks really good. I did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was looking good.
Yeah. It's better. It's definitely.
Get that
better.
grime off there.
Yeah.
So trying to save every penny we possibly
Right.
can towards this project. So we do look actually at every penny, Tina. But
Didn't say you didn't.
but it's all those things go into hopefully having a larger impact up north, a newer building, and having the splash pad down here. So thank the city crews for all their hard work on this as well. McCown Gordon's been fantastic.
Questions for us on Lance Park?
Only question is because the splash pad is in on the other, that whole area below where the fencing is, will there be any improvements to that so far, or is that all in the budget?
That'll be in
Okay.
that alternate number. What we'll have, black vinyl fence all the way around. Where we're Brent Street.
The plan for the vinyl gate or the gate right there where the splash pad's supposed to go when they install the fence.
Yeah,
That won't be in the upgrade.
Because you set those, they're heavier gate posts.
Right.
3 or 4 gate posts and then,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, want to build that in.
Now.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So.
If it's just not a gate, if it's just fabric there, they can come back and
Add a gate later, right?
Jake shared all the hard work he's been working on. Heavy lifting with the estimating and I called the trade partners and a lot of interest in this project. Everybody else is as well.
Probably Brent's honeycomb is probably what they're really interested in. It's Brent's honeycomb's design. That's probably what's drawing everybody in just for that, right?
Brent. I didn't pick your mascot. Excellent. Thank you. Let me see where we're at. All right. Did want to give a quick update on the land itself. As you've seen on here and in your packets, the site plan. This is the updated one, so there's more room there that some of the committee members wanted, as well as moving the handicap stalls, splitting them up a little bit on the north and then also on the south side. So I did want to make sure of that. And then also too, the Planning and Zoning Board during their last meeting did pass and approve the lot split. And so the section that is going to be purchased, the lot split has gone through. And so now we just have to execute the purchase agreement once the current owner finalizes and finishes up some of the cleanup work that's going on that property. So as a part of the letter of intent to purchase was that site was to be, clear of debris and those, not trees, but all the debris. And so, that's up for interpretation. Any questions on that before we move?
A lot of debris on that.
There's a lot of debris.
I've walked it twice.
There's a lot of debris that's still standing up and has
Yes,
roots.
I know.
Many years of treasures.
They get the truck out of the back.
Which one?
I think it had roots.
There's a few of them
deep
in
down,
there.
too.
Yeah.
Yep. So it became one with the land. All right. Nothing else on item A or B. Open up to item number 5C, general discussion from the public. All right. Well, we'll move right along to 6. If anybody wants to, anybody interested, you can sure have at that. 7:48.
We adjourn.
Thank you, Neil.
Second.
Third, fourth.
Who seconded that? I got it. Oh, I got my phone right there. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you so much. And we will send out the next notice probably in a couple weeks when we're ready. Thank you, everybody.